Okay, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Councilwoman Jones, I'll be chairing the meeting today and would call the Administration and Finance Committee to order. This is another virtual meeting, so if you're joining us via MCAT or via the live stream, you can join the live meeting in Zoom by going to ci.missoula.mt.us/webcasts. And there you'll find links to join the live meeting. Anyone who is participating today in the meeting can provide public comment by raising their hand. If you're joining us by phone, you can use the hand raise feature within Zoom. We have our first item of business is roll call. And Lisa, would you assist with the roll, please?
Yes, no problem. All right, Stacy Anderson.
Present.
Mirta Becerra. Looks like Mirta's not here. John Contos. I see you, John, thank you. Heather Harp.
Present.
Jordan Hess.
Present.
Gwen Jones. Gwen is not attending today, Jordan?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Julie Merritt.
And Julie sent a note that she would be absent as well.
Is that okay? Jesse Ramos.
Same for Jesse.
Okay. Amber Sherrill.
Present.
Sandra Vasica.
Present.
Brian Von Losberg, he's out today also, Jordan?
Yep.
Thank you. Heidi West. Looks like Heidi is out, so 6 members are present and 6 are absent.
Okay, so we don't have a quorum, but we'll just proceed and note that for the record, and we may pick up a few people as the meeting goes on. Is there any public comment on items not listed on our agenda? Seeing none, we have 2 items of committee business, and the first is, I'll turn it over to Mayor Engen. This is a resolution requesting that the Missoula County Commission adopt a resolution and refer to the ballot authorization for local option marijuana excise tax. Mayor. Oh, Mayor, you're muted.
Someday I'll get used to this. Well, good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate your time today. As is often the case, or occasionally the case, we have an opportunity as municipal government to support county government in its efforts that affect the entire county. In this case, the Montana legislature during the last session put some sideboards around the legalization of marijuana, and among those are a local option tax on that product. That tax has to be approved countywide by all voters of Missoula County, actually a majority of voters of Missoula County. And our resolution today expresses the city's support for placing that question on the ballot. In the case of that question actually making it to the ballot and voters supporting it, we expect that it means something on the order of around $300,000 of new revenue for the city of Missoula, and a similar amount, a little bit more for Missoula County. And as you all know, we're interested in that revenue. I view recreational marijuana in the same way that I view alcohol, another drug that is legal and taxed in the state of Montana. In the case of alcohol, however, we don't have a local option. Kind of wish we did. It would be helpful. With that, Jessica Miller has prepared this resolution. I'll turn it over to her to present it to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Jessica? Oh, Jessica, you're on mute still.
Sorry, I clicked the button. I must not have been aiming right. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of take us a little bit through the background of how we got here and what the city's decision space is at this point. So House Bill 701 is the bill, the major bill at the state legislature that implemented all the marijuana regulations that were when marijuana was approved by I-190 this year, last year. And so it regulates the taxation and the operation of marijuana businesses. One thing that it does allow is it allows counties to put a local option marijuana excise tax on the ballot. That is capped by the state legislation at up to 3% on retail marijuana sales. And in that piece of legislation, House Bill 701, it specifies that the revenue must be distributed 50% to the county, 45% among incorporated cities, which Missoula is the only one in Missoula County, so that would be 45% to the city of Missoula, and then 5% back to the Montana Department of Revenue to administer the taxes. So our process right now, this is a decision that the Missoula County Commissioners make on whether or not to put this on the ballot for a special election. City Council's decision space, the resolution before you today is to request that the Missoula County Commissioners adopt this and put it on the ballot for the voters for November. And if this is passed, council would actually have the opportunity to allocate revenue either during a future budget season or in a budget amendment process. So if the commissioners choose to refer it to voters, the special election would be in November. County commissioners had their first hearing on July 1st. Their second one is going to be July 15th. If they do approve that and if it was passed in the November special election, they would begin collecting the tax in January 2022. And so at that time, we would have a better idea of exactly what we're going to get. So the county has made some estimates based on some rough estimates. It's a little bit tough just because we don't have a lot of data on this. They were able to go to the Bureau of, oh shoot, now I can't remember what ER stands for, but it's a division of the university. They did a report. The county was able to kind of extrapolate their statewide marijuana revenue report and use some numbers based on population of Montana versus population of Missoula County. Their rough estimate is that the total revenue collected on it would be $716,000, which would leave the city with about $322,000. Those are numbers, you know, again, kind of based on projections. And so it could be significantly more than that possibly, but those are the kind of conservative numbers that we were able to extrapolate from that information. The revenue can be used for any purpose that the city is allowed to do. So any function that the city is legally allowed to perform, we can use that marijuana revenue for. So that leaves it, you know, entirely up to city council. If this is approved, city council can fully allocate that. One thing that we did discuss and that is in part of that resolution in the be it further resolved section is recommending using that revenue for property tax reduction. I know folks have probably seen this chart several times at the shift from residential or the shift to residential property taxpayers over the decades, and you know how much of that burden is falling on our residents and our homeowners, whereas it used to be more toward business and other sources. So that's the recommendation in the resolution. And again, it would be actually allocated during a formal budget process with all the public input that goes along with that. And so we're recommending that City Council adopt the resolution and request that the county commissioners put that on the ballot for the voters. And then I'm open to any questions.
Great. Thank you, Jessica. I've got Amber with a question.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks, Jessica. I kept writing down questions and you kept answering them in your presentation. So I appreciate that. It was very thorough. And I want to just say that we don't have the option to have local option sales tax on very many things. And so I'm very, very excited to have this option on marijuana, because I think, as we have talked about endlessly, I think at City Council, is, ways to have property tax reduction in the current tax structure that we have is very, very difficult. I do have a question though about medical marijuana. Is there any difference in how that would be taxed? Is it all kind of in there together? How does that work?
I think for purposes of this local option tax, it is actually taxed at the same rate, which is 3%. I'm not sure what they have. There are also statewide taxes on marijuana. I'm not sure how that balances out. This particular bill does allow for both.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Heather.
So Jessica, to just clarify, basically the state unrestricts the cities and counties in this particular case from being able to use these funds on anything they see fit, correct?
That's correct.
So the $322,000 divided by 75,000 residents is about $4.29 in terms of relief per taxpayer. It's a ridiculous small amount. And I'm going to just take this opportunity to just comment that I'm very disappointed that our state legislature sees the benefit in a local option sales tax on something like marijuana, which gives us a very small amount to help our community become better, and then removed the local option sales tax for a gas tax, which really would have actually made a huge difference in terms of our road and maintenance. And I'm just going on the record for this. I support this. I think what we're starting to see is that local governments need more flexibility in terms of being able to generate the revenues that they need to build their communities in the best way that they see fit. And that's all I have to say today. I think this is a good idea, and I'm glad to see that our county commissioners feel the same way. Jordan, do you need a motion?
I do, Heather.
I'm happy to put the motion on the floor.
Okay, thanks. That motion is in order. Next, I have Stacy and then Sandra.
Thanks so much, Mr. Hess. I agree with Heather. I will be supporting this, and I do feel the same frustrations that we are not given more tools in our toolkit to fund our municipality, that we have been really backed into a corner on property tax. This is a tiny bit of relief. I look forward to having a discussion about where this money should go. I definitely think we should be thinking about things like the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, property tax relief, things like that. So we'll look forward to that conversation, appreciative of whatever small measures we may be able to get to self-govern and take this to the voters. Jessica, I do have a question. Is this a one-time take to the voters and then it's permanently on the books? I know that with the local option sales tax, one of the even though we're not allowed to take that to our voters because of various reasons within our statute, it is, but with something like that, it has to be revoted on every 10 years by the body, the elected body, or the voters, I guess. So is that the same for this, or is it once we vote on it, Missoula County votes on it this fall, it's permanently on the books?
I don't think that this one had an expiration date. I can certainly double check and verify that. I don't recall coming across that, but I haven't specifically looked for it. So I don't think so, but I will let you know for sure.
Thanks so much.
Thanks. Sandra?
Thanks. I disagree with this respectfully, just like I disagree with all the sin, quote unquote, sin taxes, like the tobacco tax, the alcohol tax, marijuana tax. I think it's just price increase just goes right onto the consumers, and especially in the low income consumers. And it's just another opportunity to tax our constituents. So I have to respectfully disagree, and I will not be supporting this motion.
Okay, thank you. A question, I guess, maybe for Jessica or for Dale, perhaps, but in Whitefish with the local option tax, my understanding is that and of course that's a totally different beast and a much more impactful beast. But my impression is that shows up actually as a rebate or as a credit on the property tax bills. Is that something that could be a possibility with if the city and or county wanted to go down that route of providing a credit? Could that be reflected as a on the tax bills as sort of a negative amount or a credit, if you will?
I'm not sure if Dale would be able to jump in on that. Okay, he is there. So that would probably be a question along with the county because they would actually have to do that work, but Dale can answer, it looks like.
Yeah, in the city of Whitefish, they have the ability to show specifically the amount of rebate on the tax bills, though I'm not sure what their tax system is. So if we went down this path, I think we'd work with the county, who is the property tax administrator, to see if we can't do that, or the alternative would be just to do it during our budget process to be able to show how we would reduce that.
Good, thanks, and thanks for joining us from wherever you are, Dale. Okay, I guess I'd just say that I'm appreciative of this. I share the frustrations with the local option fuel tax, but I do want to thank the legislature for recognizing that there is value in local option taxes, and this is an avenue that cities and towns across the state are interested in exploring. So I think this is an opportunity to really demonstrate that this does provide value to our constituents. It also recognizes that this is in other Western states that have gone down the path of legalizing recreation marijuana. There's a tourism component, and this helps capture that. And it of course helps diversify our tax base. And like the previous attempt at the local option fuel tax, it's ultimately the decision, which I think is a good thing. So looks like Ms. West is here for the record. Okay, and then another comment from Sandra.
I just had a quick question. If this does pass, is there anything specific that the city plans on using this tax for, or would it just go into the general fund?
So again, the resolution currently contains language that we recommend that it be used for property tax relief directly. And the actual revenue would be allocated either during a regular budget process or possibly with a budget amendment, depending on how frequently we're going to get that revenue from the county and what time of year that falls, and which of those two processes would work better. But it will be a city council decision that'll go through all our budget public processes.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Is there any additional discussion or questions on this item? Okay, seeing none, is there any public comment? Seeing none of that, we can have a roll call vote on the motion.
All right. And before we do that, Jordan, after this, did you want to approve the minutes from last week's meeting?
Oh, yes, thank you.
No problem.
We'll go back to that after this.
Okay, so Stacey Anderson,
Yes.
John Contos,
Yes.
Heather Harp,
Yes.
Jordan Hess,
Yes.
Amber Sherrill,
Yes.
Sandra Vasica,
No.
Heidi West.
Yes.
All right, so of the 7 members present, there were 6 yeses and 1 no.
Okay, thanks. So that'll go under our committee reports. And then we can go back now that we have a quorum and approve the minutes. Are there any changes to the minutes? Oh, Sandra?
Oh, not for the minutes, but I don't mind this going on the consent agenda. If
That's
you
fine,
want.
and we can put the item on the consent agenda instead then.
All right.
Okay. And then, are there any changes to the minutes? Seeing none, then the minutes will be approved. And we can move on to our second and final item, which is an agreement for architectural services for municipal court. And I believe that is Mike Brady here to introduce that, or
Actually, Matt Lawson will be presenting today.
okay, great.
Good afternoon.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Matt Lawson, the facilities manager for the city. Hope you're all having a good day today. I move the city council approve the agreement with MacArthur Means and Wells MMW Architecture for architectural design services in the remodel of municipal court to create a third courtroom as required by law.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Can you tell us a little bit about the contract with MMW and what all that will entail, and what the plans are for the for that third courtroom as it stands?
Yep. Yeah. This is actually fairly preliminary and a little bit preemptive on us to try and get ahead of the ball. We're supposed to have something in place by January. We've got a very rough design option now. The contract really is a time and material document at this point, just to get them on board so that we can start working on the design process and try and get something going.
Okay, great. Is part of that an assessment of the most appropriate location for this third courtroom and whatnot, or is that already?
Yeah, we think we've got that narrowed down pretty good. We're going to try and figure out a way to use the existing space we have in courts now and move staff to other adjoining lease space.
Okay, thanks. Heather.
Thanks. Matt, can you remind us about how MMW was chosen to be on the short list
yeah,
for this project?
I certainly can. Pretty much the majority of that decision was based off of them working with us in the previous City Hall remodel and our space needs analysis. So we have current up-to-date drawings for all our facilities already in place with them. So it cuts out that redraw and as-built process, which should save us quite a bit of time and money by the time the project is finished.
Follow up, if I might.
Go ahead.
Matt, in the event that MMW was not able or willing to work with us, is it part and parcel of the process that a subsequent architecture firm would take those same drawings from MMW, or would they have to start over from scratch?
I suppose there's a process by where we could get those drawings from MMW to the new architectural firm. Haven't done it before, but I think we could probably do that. Yes.
My question's based on just in terms of process, but I think what you have mentioned, Matt, in regards that they already have that institutional knowledge, I think is very key for being the architectural firm of choice.
Stacy.
Thanks so much, Mr. Hess. My question for Matt is in regards to, this is a preliminary design, trying to utilize the space that we have. How does the possible acquisition of the federal building factor into this? Because I know that that's a process that's running concurrently with this process as well. Will there be kind of points in time if we get the federal building that the path will change because it won't be a long-term need for this building? Or if we find out we don't get the federal building, then we'll have more long-term needs and then the plans might change. How does those factor in?
This is basically going to be, it's going to be a stopgap measure, I would say. It's not going to be a permanent solution because we just currently do not have the space to come up with a more permanent solution to court size. This will be something that will get us through in the next 5 years, I would say, until hopefully the federal building does come online, which will allow for more court space. In the event that the federal building did not come online, we would have our 3 courtrooms in place. The issue that we would have at that point would be staff space and office space.
Okay. Thanks, Matt. Are there any additional questions or discussion? I'd also entertain the motion. Heidi?
I just have a quick question. I saw that the courtrooms would have to be operational by January 3rd, I believe. That seems like a pretty awfully quick construction timeline. Do you think that it's feasible to get contractors lined up to do this work once we have the drawings?
That's the hope. It's feasible. Is it plausible? Possibly not. At this point, we're just going to have to try and move forward and see what happens. We do have a related CIP to this project in for approval in the budget. But to really move forward with that CIP pending approval, we need to have some sort of design to work off of so that we can try and get some numbers.
Okay, thanks. Heidi?
I'll make the recommended motion.
Okay, thanks. All right, the motion is in order. Is there any additional discussion on the motion? And any public comment on the motion? Okay, so we can have a roll call vote on the motion.
All right. While my computer catches up with me here. Stacy Anderson,
Yes.
John Contos,
Yes.
Heather Harp,
Yes.
Jordan Hess,
Yes.
Amber Sherrill,
Yes.
Sandra Vazika,
Yes.
and Heidi West.
Yes.
That's unanimous for all in attendance.
Great. So we can put that on our consent agenda. And we don't have any further items of committee business, so we'll be adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.